In this video, I'd like to practice solving some multi-step word problems. So first thing I'm going to do is read the word problem. It says Tim was playing a video game. He scored 687 points in the first round. He lost 187 points in the next round. During the final round, he scored 389 points. How many points did he have at the end of the game? Now I'm going to reread and I'm going to visualize what's happening in this word problem. Tim was playing a video game. He scored 687 points in the first round. He scored, that means that would be a plus. He lost 187 points in the next round. Lost, that would be a minus. During the final round, he scored 389 points. So he's playing a game, he scores 687 points, then he loses 187 points, and then he scores 389 points. How many points did he have at the end of the game? So I'm underlining the question. How many points did he have at the end of the game? Scored is going to help me because that told me it was plus. Lost told me it was minus. The final round he scored plus again. And again, I'm going to reread the question. How many points did he have at the end of the game? So let's make an equation first, which will help us to see what strategies we're going to use to solve this. So we have 687 that he scored the first round. He lost minus 187. During the final round, he scored plus 389 equals how many points? We'll put a P to stand for points. So we can break this up into steps and do the 687 minus 187 first. And since I'm going to do that first, I'm just going to put these parentheses to show that I'm going to do that first. And then when we find this answer, we'll add 389 to it. So I'm going to write 687 minus 187, and I'm going to use the expanded form method to subtract. So I have 6, the 6 stands for 600, 600. The 8 is 80, and the 7 is 7. For 187, and I'm going to make sure I line up these places, 187. So this is the first part I'm doing. So now I say 7 minus 7 is 0. 80 minus 80 is 0. 600 minus 100 is 500. Now I know it might confuse you seeing these pluses, and I'm talking about subtracting, but these pluses stand for, I wrote this 687 in expanded form, 600 plus 80 plus 7. 187 is 100 plus 80 plus 7. Okay, but now what I did here, I'm doing the subtraction. 7 take away 7, 80 take away 80, 600 take away 100. So my answer for this first part, up here, is 500. Okay, that's just the first part. I'm not done. So if I put the 500 here, it will remind me that I'm not done. That 500 just represents the 687 minus 187. So now I'm going to do the second part. So this was the first part. Now I have to do 500 plus 389. 500 plus 389. So if I do expanded form again, which some of you won't even need to do that because you'll just look at this and you'll know what the answer is, but I'm going to write it out anyway. There is nothing in the tens and nothing in the ones. 389 is 300 plus 80 plus 9. Now remember, for this one we are adding. okay? That was the end here, the 500 plus 389. So 9 plus 0 is 9. 80 plus 0 is 80. 500 plus 300 is 800. 800 plus 80 plus 9. 8 in the hundreds place, 8 in the tens place, and 9 in the ones. So I'm going to go back to the question, how many points did he have at the end of the game? He had 889 points. Okay, so this problem, it worked best to use the expanded form. Now sometimes you will use the number line, sometimes you will use the place value chart. Let's look at another problem. In a math book, there were 950 problems in the first 3 chapters. So they're saying in the first 3 chapters, there were 950 problems. If chapter 1 has 458 problems and chapter 2 has 171 problems, how many problems are there in chapter 3? So I'm going to go back and read it again. They're telling me there's a math book. In a math book, there were 950 problems in the first 3 chapters. So they have a math book, and they're telling you in the first 3 chapters, there's 950 problems. Okay, so there's 3 chapters that they're talking about. If chapter 1 has 458 problems, sorry, that's a sloppy 8, and chapter 2 has 171 problems, how many problems are there in chapter 3? So put a P to represent problems. They're telling us that there are 3 chapters. There are a total of 950 problems. There's not 458 in chapter 1. There's 171 in chapter 2. And we don't know what's in chapter 3. P for problems. So we have a total, and then we have 2 of the chapters. We have to find the 3rd chapter. So to do this, if they give us a problem where they give you the total and then they give you parts of the total, you have to add these 2 up. And after you add these 2 up, you subtract it from 950. So let's write an equation. We could do 458 plus 171 plus P equals 950. Okay? Or 950 minus 458 plus 171 equals P. This is what you do first, so it's in parentheses. I have to add these 2 first. After I find the sum, I subtract it from 950. So I have 458 and 171. 458, 171. Okay, so I'm going to put this in expanded form and add it. So 458 is 400 plus 50 plus 8. 458. 171 is 100 plus 70 plus 1. So again, we're adding up the first 2 chapters. 8 plus 1 is 9. 50 plus 70, well, 5 and 7 is 12. So 50 plus 70 is 120. 120. The 20 goes in the tens place. The 100 goes in the hundreds. Okay, so it was 120. You can't put 120 there. You put the tens, 20, and the 100. 100 plus 400 is 500, and 100 more is 600. So 600 plus 20 plus 9, 629. That is this part of the problem. Okay? If when you get done, you write it there, you won't get tricked and think if they have a 629 as an answer choice that it's the answer. Because now we still have to do, again, this is a 629. If I put in my equation, now we have to do the 950 minus 629. Okay, since I've been doing a lot of the expanded form, why don't I do this with the place value chart? Because I do know that some of you prefer that. So I'm going to do this part of it with the place value chart. Ones, tens, hundreds. So first I have to have 950. I have to show 950 in the place value chart. That means I need 9 hundredths. Nine hundredths, 2, 3, 4, 5, 950, okay, minus 629. So I'm going to start, I have to take away from the ones. I have nothing in the ones, so I'm going to take this 10, and I'm going to bring it over here and make 10 ones. I just exchanged it. I'm going to cross it so I don't use it again. Okay, so now I can take 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and I have 1 left. Now I have to take away 2 from the tens. 1, 2, and I have 2 left. Now I have to take away 600 from the 900. So I take away 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I have 300. 321. 321. That means 321. There are 321 problems in chapter 3. 321. 321. Okay, so this would, when we're done, we can see that 321 would go here. Now, if we want to estimate, to see if this makes sense, the 458, the 171, the 321, let's do that over here to see if I add them all up, if I estimate to the tens place for each of these. Let's see, 458, if I estimate to the tens place, that means I look at this 8. That means the 5's going to go up to a 6. So this would be 460. The 171, I look to the ones place. It's less than 5, so this would stay a 7. 170. 321, I look to the ones place. It's less than 5, so this stays a 2. 320. So now if I estimate 460 plus 170 plus 320, 460 plus 170, this is going to get very messy, guys. I'm going to use another way to show my estimate. And let me do this so I don't totally confuse you. I have 400 plus 100 plus 300, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 800. So I was adding up the hundreds. And then the tens, I have 60 plus 70 plus 20. 60 plus 70, 6 and 7 is 13, so that's 130 plus 20, 130, that'd be 150 plus 150 plus, yay, zeros. 800 plus 150, 950 would be our estimate. I did a lot of things with this problem, just to review some things. Oh my goodness, our estimate was actually the answer. So that makes sense, doesn't it? All right, lots of work on this page. All right, one more problem. Ah, I see 1,000. It's okay. Let me just zoom in a little bit. That's better. Yeah. While playing his favorite video game, John scored 1,000 points. If he had scored 160 points in round 1 and 418 in round 2, how many points did he score in round 3? So they're telling you that he played a video game and he scored 1,000 points. And then they're telling you there's 3 different rounds they're talking about here. They said in round 1, he scored 166 points. In round 2, 418 points. But the part that you have to figure out is how many points he scored in round 3. They're not telling you round 3. They want you to find that out. So here's another one where they give you the total. They give you 2 parts. And you have to find the missing part, the missing number. Okay? So to do this one, our equation, we could say 1,000 minus, we're going to add these two, 166 plus 418 equals P. And again, when I put the parentheses, that tells me that I'm going to do this part first. I'm going to find this answer first, subtract it from 1,000 to get this answer. When they give you the total, you can make a model showing breaking up the parts that they have round 1, 2, 3. All right. So I'm going to do the 166 plus 418 first. 166 plus 418. 166 plus 418. And I'm going to do the expanded form way. So I have 100 plus 60, the 6 is 60, plus 6. 400 plus 10 plus 8. Again, I'm adding. 6 plus 8 is 14. I can't put a 14 in the ones place. If I have a 14, that means the 4 is in the ones place, and I put the 10 up here. 60, 70, 80. 100, 400 is 500. And we have 584. Now I'm going to go up here and I'm going to put this 584 right here and right here to remind myself I'm not done. All I did so far is this part. If you write out your equation and then you put this number here, your answer to this first part, then you'll be able to see I'm not done. I haven't found how many points he scored in round 3. So I have to now do 1,000 minus 584. Okay, I'm going to do this two ways, and in another video I showed you the subtracting from 1,000. I showed you that you could use a place value chart, and what you could do is in the hundreds, because 1,000 is 10 hundreds, you could put 10 hundreds. Okay, 10 hundreds is the same as 1,000. Now I'm going to subtract from 1,000 584. So that means I need some numbers in the ones, I need some in the tens. So I'm going to take one of these hundreds and I'm going to change it into 10 tens. Again, I haven't subtracted. 100 is the same as 10 tens, so now that I changed it, I'm crossing it out here. I also need 1, so I'm going to take one of these tens and change it into 10 ones. Okay? And when I'm done doing that, I cross it out so I don't use it. So again, I still have 1,000 here. This still represents 1,000. Now I can start subtracting. I always start from the ones. I subtract 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I have 6 left. Then I have to take away 8 tens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I have 1 10 left. Then I have to take away 5 hundreds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I have 4 hundreds left. So 416 would be how many points he scored in round 3. Okay, so this would be 416. I want to show you how to do that also on using an open-ended number line. If I start at 584 and I have to find the difference between 584 and 1,000, I could subtract this way, but I prefer to count up. So to do that, I look at the hundreds place and I say, how many hundreds can I add to 500 without going over 1,000? Well, if I add 4 hundreds, that would give me 984. You just add 4 to the hundreds. Okay, so now I've done as many hundreds as I can, so I look at the tens. How many tens can I add to 8 to get me as close to 1,000 without going over? Well, 2 tens, 20 would be too much, so I'm just going to add 10, which gives me 994. Then I say 994 plus what is 1,000? Plus 6, 416, 416. The difference between 584 and 1,000 is 416. 1,000 minus 584 is 416. So he scored 416 points. Okay, so again, we had to first draw the model to see that we had to add these two first and then subtract it from 1,000. We added those two and we got 584. So we put that up here to see that that's only the first part of the problem. Then we had to subtract this answer from 1,000. We did it two ways. We made a 100 tens ones chart, and in the hundreds column we put 10 tens because 10 tens is 1,000. Okay, so if you're comfortable with doing it that way, do it that way. Or you can do the number line. 584, 1,000. Start with your hundreds. See the most hundreds you can add to get as close to 1,000 as you can without going over. And that was 400, so that was our first big jump. We added 400, then we went to the tens, and added 10, and then we went to the ones. Okay, so we've talked about 3 multi-step word problems, and we've used different strategies for each one. Remember to always make sure when it's a multi-step word problem that you did both steps.